Aloha. Scott's Boring Life here in Kauai. Kauai is the northernmost island in the Hawaiian island chain. And that's where I've been for a month with my wife Karina. And we've been working and playing here. It's been good. Karina's written 2 books already, which is staggering. It's hard to understand. She wrote one called, and I always get the name of this one wrong, so I'm going to think for a second. Discretion. And another one called Nothing Personal. It blows my mind that she was able to write those 2 books in this time. Hard worker. Impressive lady. I, on the other hand, finished a book I've been working on for a year. But I put a lot of work into it. And I'm proud of that too. Very proud of it. I'll tell you what, man. Whenever I wrote those last few words, I felt it. And it felt good. I'll never forget it. And that book is called Straight Up Romance. I don't know where it will end up. I honestly have no idea the destiny of it. I don't know how it will be received. To be honest, my only dream, or my hopes and dreams for this book is that it is read. Because it's a bit of an odd duck. Certainly isn't a hard sell. I mean, it's not easily marketed, I should say. So I don't have grand hopes and dreams for this. It's kind of something I'm proud that I'll leave behind when I'm gone type of thing. All right, enough about that. Getting a little bit self-congratulatory. And sweet Canadian boys don't do that. So we're on location, man. So I might sound a little bit different. Something I've learned just recently is I love the sound of my studio. Every room has a sound. Trust me, but you already know that. And my studio has problems. For a loud rock and roll band, doesn't work very well. But for the human voice, for singing and talking, I really like the sound of that room. I don't like the sound of this one. Well, that's not true. It's beautiful. I can hear chickens and birds outside, and maybe you can too. But it's not great for recording. But I got this cool mobile studio, and I'm going to take advantage of it today. I don't know if I'll do it again. I don't even know the destiny of this podcast. I'm starting to wonder what the hell I'm doing here. I don't have a massive audience, and it's a mixed crowd. I made the mistake of kind of looking at, who's listening and where they're listening, and not a big group. The thing is, what I would have to do is pay for ads. You know that. People do that. So I can't justify paying for an ad for this podcast. That doesn't make sense. I can't go doing that. So, I can basically go in a medium-sized town at a busy intersection, at a not busy intersection, roll down my window and shout out the window and have basically the same reach that I have right now. So that kind of takes the pressure off, or does it? I don't know. Maybe I could just call a few high school friends, a few old workmates, a few people from high school that are judging the fuck out of me, and my mom, and that would be the same thing. I don't know. The idea, I guess, the initial idea of this is to kind of find like-minded people all around the world, and then you feel like you're talking to them. So that might happen, because the thing is, you put this on the World Wide Web, and it's there, man. And I'm old and gray. I can't even delete it, but we all know it's still there somewhere. So something very permanent about doing this. So if I haven't freaked myself out enough, I'll just shift gears. So we're in Hawaii. I finished the book. Karina finished 2. And half the day we spend writing here in the bungalow thing that we have. It's out in the jungle. It's a little bit different than anything we've done before. We've been to Kauai quite a few times. This time we're here for 3 months straight, which is pretty cool. And this time we're out kind of in the jungle, out in the countryside, and it's cool. It's a different experience. Great for what we're doing. Certainly not very many distractions. But the book is done. What's next? I don't know. It's 2019. It's a new year. And that's when you start making plans, which is a fun thing to do. As you know, you might know or you might not know about me. I think it's dangerous talking about your future plans. Because what sometimes happens is you talk to people about them, whether it's a book, whether it's a business. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be like losing weight, some classic stuff like that. And what happens is you talk about it, and they say, "Hey, good for you, fantastic, that's great." You say, "Hey, thanks, man," and then you have these nice feelings as if you actually accomplished whatever that thing is. So you don't have to write the book, you don't have to start that business. You just went and told everybody, and they said, gave you high fives. They said, "Great," and you feel great. You went through the whole process. You just forgot to do the thing. So be careful when you talk about things that you plan on doing, if you're anything like me, and you might be. So that's something for me that I've noticed kind of late in life. Don't talk about it. And there's, of course, people that don't give you the high fives. There's the people out there that might wish you ill will. Don't be so naive. They're out there, man. Sometimes they'll give you a high five too. And they can be kind of tricky and try to take the wind out of your sails. So, we won't talk about future plans too much, but we'll talk about the fact for a moment that it's 2019. Why is that interesting to me? Well, it got me thinking, 2019. I'm not so excited about this year. I am. Don't get me wrong. I want really exciting things to happen for me and for you. And they will. For the world. Whatever. 2020, man. I'm looking forward to next year. The 20s, man. The roaring 20s. Think about it. I'm not saying the last 20 years of your life and my life have been a bunch of nothing. Or maybe I am. But the silver lining is the next 10 years are going to be the best. The next decade, it will be the best decade in the history of humankind. Yeah, man. The roaring 20s. It has a name, first of all. For the last 20 years, we haven't had a name for anything. Anytime we're talking about the tens, the teens, we're always just, you kind of struggle in that part of the conversation and you just kind of try to get past it. It's true. Think about it. Think about the 1900s. 1911. Remember what happened? No, you don't. Nothing. Who cares? 1903. You're picturing someone build a brick house, and a bunch of nothing happening around them. Who cares? 1920s. Now you're talking. Right? That has some context you could picture. And the 2020s, it's not just the name, but there's all kinds of things, exciting things that are happening, and they're all due to be released in the 20s. Like electric cars. And I've talked about electric cars before, and it's just, to me, it just kind of represents a change. And in 2020, many electric cars are due to be released, new ones, to challenge Tesla. And that's exciting. There is a spaceship that will be going to Mars in the 20s. And will arrive there. The 60s had the moon landing. Man, we're gonna land on Mars. Creatively speaking, we're in this weird time where movies are being released on Amazon, real movies that are contending or are better than sometimes than the traditional production companies. Netflix, those are just two, and there's so many others. And now, so since transition, no one knows what's what. Well, what's going to happen is there's going to be a whole new way to way that we all kind of accept, that will wait for art to be released and to be viewed. So film's an easy one example, but there'll be many others. YouTube, maybe. YouTube will progress, but it doesn't matter. There's going to be a new wave of celebrities, and what a celebrity is, I think, will even change. And I think it's going to be a celebration. The next 10 years will be a celebration. So lighten up. So what are you saying? Well, great. This year's a bunch of nothing? A whole year of my life? No. It's a fantastic time to kind of get ready. Sometimes the party isn't the most fun part. It's getting ready before the party. So that's what 2019 is, man. We're getting ready before the party. So start that thing that you want to do. Do that thing you want to do. Just don't talk about it too much. Careful with that. Just do it. And I'm telling you, man, it's going to be exciting. Like the roaring 20s. I don't know, what is that? Picture like hot jazz clubs and people dancing feverishly, red face, just overwhelmed with joy. That's the 2020s. Imagine, where you are going to be when they land on Mars, and the celebration that'll happen after that. Pretty cool, man. So electric cars, Mars, movies, and music that'll be, a whole new way. You ever wonder if soon, like, home movies are going to contend with big production companies? I mean, if you talk to anybody in the business, they're really quick to tell you to go fly. I'm not trying not to swear because I have a mixed audience now. I don't know. Anyway, but I mean, it's happened with recordings, audio. Platinum records can be done in somebody's basement, in their apartment, bedroom. Certainly. And I think eventually that'll happen with movies, like full-length feature films. I think that's fair to say. But, yeah, so I'm going to go back to the book for a second that I finished. Yeah. This is about me, though. Let's face it. It's done. So I can't talk about the book too much, but I do want to narrate it. I was actually planning on narrating here if the edits came back in time. I would at least start it here. But I discovered that I don't like the sound of this room. So I'm going to wait till I get home in a couple months. And then I'm going to narrate my own book. Cool, right? I think so. So what I did want to talk about is what I listened to while I was writing the book. And what I was listening to is the album called Death Magnetic from Metallica. That's 2 albums ago, if you're keeping track. So maybe you're not into Metallica, but that's okay, because there's a general idea here that applies to many things. And the idea is that, Metallica fans, like hipsters, too, will say they're quick to say they only like Metallica before the Black Album. Fantastic. Good for you. Aren't you interesting and more deep than the rest of everybody else that likes maybe stuff after that? Okay, here's the point. Let me focus in. Let me narrow it down a little bit. What I'm talking about, what the point of this is. Death Magnetic is an amazing album. I kind of randomly pulled it up trying to think of things to write to. Usually I can't write to anything with lyrics, but for some reason this really worked. And I listened to it over and over and over again, and it is a damn good album. So good. There's a couple parts that I kind of wonder why they put them in there. There's a few, tiny little parts that bug me. But that's really splitting hairs. An amazing album. And it just kind of came and went. And the album after that came out more recently, Hardwired to Self-Destruct, is an amazing album as well. But I want to go further back a little bit and talk about Load, Reload. Yeah, man, we're going to talk about that. And there's a few people that just recoiled, like, oh, why, man? Why do you hate those albums? You hate those albums because you think that's the right thing to say. That's the right thing to feel. They're fucking good. I swear. They're good albums. Load and Reload. They're really good. And people say they don't like them because they know if they go into a party with a bunch of hipsters, that's what you say. And everyone else is like, oh, okay, you're part of the group. You're like, wow, what do I have to say to be part of the group? That, okay, yeah, Load, Reload sucks. Pixies are great. I like David Lynch films. Look, they're good albums, and you should listen to them. I bet a lot of people that say they don't, I hate, that's when Metallica sucks after the Black Album. Okay, that's ridiculous. They don't. They're still amazing. And that little period was amazing too. Yeah. So like I never listened to those albums in full. And at one point I heard a song on the radio and I was like, that was great. I'm like, I actually never really got into those albums. So I actually did. And it's just beyond me why. It's just you have to hate those albums. Is it because people like, the Metallica in the 80s so much that they feel like if they say I like Load Reload albums, that takes away from, Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, Justice for All, and the Black Album. People always say this. There's always these kind of in the box conversations that have been over and over and over and over again, and they always say, "Oh, Metallica, the Black Album is whenever." Was the end of Metallica. Oh, end of Metallica, the Black Album. My God. Anyway, I think I've talked about Metallica enough. You get the point. There's certain things you say that that you're supposed to say. And you're supposed to not like Load Reload. Why say the hell with you? They're good. And the album that I listened to on repeat for the last, last quarter of the book. Is damn good. Death Magnetic. So, moving right along. By the way, this link that you clicked on was Dirty Sex. And we're not going to be talking about dirty sex. You might have realized that by now. You filthy animal. Clicking on stuff like that. Don't worry, I won't tell anybody. Dirty sex. Crying out loud. Hey, I'm going to talk about ice cream, honest to God. So it's not all work, no play. Of course, we go out, we go to the beach and do other things. And there's going to be a little bit better of a balance. The first little while was mostly work and no play. And especially for Karina. And poor gal. But now we're really trying to get a better balance. So, sometime after lunch, close the laptops is the idea. So anyway, we did get out a little bit and we went to an ice cream joint because I'm not drinking right now, so I tend to gravitate towards the ice cream places a little bit more than I normally do. Yeah, I'm not drinking. Relax. God. Have you ever seen the movie Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio? The thing was like the dream within the dream thing. Remember the scene where he's walking with the young woman and she's messing with the world too much, the dream world too much. She's changing things too much, and everybody in the world is like looking at her weird. Like all the secondary people, all just people walking by, and they're all staring at her, and it's this odd thing. And she says, "What's going on?" He said, "You're messing with the world too much." Like a sense of change. Anyway, I feel like I'm drinking, not drinking rather. The world is like that with me. They're looking at me weird. If I ever do quit drinking, like for real, I think I'll stop at the same reason I started, rebellion. I started out of rebellion, and I might quit out of it too. Voicemail. So, but I'm not going to talk about that. Don't worry, it's not going to turn into one of those channels. But anyway, so I was at the ice cream place. And it was busy, bunch of kids, so I'm like, am I gonna do? Yeah, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna wait. Actually, we went for a big detour just to go to this place. And so who's next? Okay, so this big idiot, middle-aged guy, goes to the counter and he starts doing that fucking thing where he's sampling stuff, because you have little wooden sticks. Would you like to sample something? So yeah. So this guy's sampling stuff. There's a bunch of kids, cranky kids and families waiting their turn. And this guy thinks, like, I've been to vineyards in France with like pompous Europeans that were like way less into their wine tasting than this guy was into the ice cream tasting. He was like genuine, this dickhead. And he's, so he says, oh, let me try the whatever, the macadamia nut caramel swirl. So this, the kid behind's like stressed out because the building crowd behind this dickhead. So the kid, takes the little thing, gives it to him, and he takes his time. He tastes it. He thinks about it. Looks up pensively. You know what the fucking asshole says? It's sweet. What the fuck did you think it was gonna be? My God. And he tries another one and another one. And he went back to another one. I wanted to put him in like a sleeper hold. I don't know why, but that's where my head went. You ever watch old wrestling things? When you go behind a guy and you put a snake's hole in the barrel, he puts him to sleep, some, fictitious like move. You used to do when you were kids and then you pretend that it worked. Anyway, that's what I was daydreaming. Putting this guy in a sleeper hold and slowly buckle down. Anyway. So eventually that stupid tasting, folks, if you're at an ice cream place, unless you're alone with the retailer and you have some kind of rapport, go ahead, have some fun. If you're under the age of 12, you're a stupid kid and you're permitted to do whatever you want. If you are a middle-aged man and there's a crowd behind you, don't do that. Whatever. So I got vanilla, right? Maybe there's macadamia nuts. When did vanilla become like synonymous with boring? What point of time did that happen? Vanilla is not boring. Vanilla is amazing. If you look at all those ice creams, what they are is kind of vanilla with a bunch of shit ruining it. Like, it's kind of what is good. If you have really, really good ice cream, you don't want to be putting sprinkles and some bullshit caramel and whatever, like chunks of brownie or whatever. No. Why is it great? It's because it's just vanilla ice cream. People say, oh, that's vanilla. I mean, that's boring. Well, that's fucked up. Because vanilla's not boring. Vanilla's fantastic. When did that change? There's got to be a time, like back in the day, that vanilla was a word that would be used for, like, amazing. Like, vanilla's not grown everywhere. I don't know where it's grown, but it's not grown where I'm from. And so a lot of people never knew what it was. And then, somebody shows up, some guy that left the town. He comes back years later. He's like, oh, I got some animal pelts and I got, whatever. Something from some snake oil salesman. And what's this little thing? Vanilla, huh? Let's try that. Whoa. That guy was able to pick whatever wife he wanted in that town because he brought that back. Like, vanilla's not boring. It's amazing. And I just want to get that off my chest. All right. So Scott's boring life. Scott's vanilla life. No, that would mean Scott's amazing, fucking incredible life. All right. So let's knock that off. Okay, folks? So I don't have a huge following, all right? I don't know how long I'm going to do this podcast. I think I'm starting to question what it is all about. I could basically go to a medium-sized town, go to an intersection, roll down my window, yell out the window, and I'll have basically the same reach, I think. Because I'm not going to pay for ads, because that's what you have to do. And I can't justify doing that, for crying out loud. I can't be paying for ads so people listen to my ramblings. That'd be the most narcissistic thing to do. I do have a book I'm about to sell, and I don't know how that's gonna go. But I don't think this podcast is a way to sell a book, right? Okay. What has this been? Well, let's face it. I think it's been a way to talk about my album and my songs, and maybe a little bit of an opportunity to talk about the lyrics, because I do work hard on the lyrics and I am proud of them. And then you put in this loud rock song and they're lost. No one listens to them. So I thought this is maybe an opportunity to do that. You know, talk about the song, talk about the lyrics. The guests have been fun. It was fun talking to Dave. It was fun talking to Patrick. You know, but this kind of internal dialogue thing, I don't know. Something to think about. Can you hear the roosters? I don't know if you can. I hope you can. It's kind of neat. So yeah, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. Nobody does. But I'm excited about the future. All right. So 2019 is the getting ready for the party, which might be even more fun than the party. And next New Year's Eve, by God, it starts. First of all, we got a name. The 20s. That's cool, man. The 90s, the 80s. You know, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Then the nothing for 20 fucking years. Nothing. We had nothing to gravitate to. Now we do. All right. I mean, things in science and health and art are really going to come into fruition in the 20s. How old are you going to be in the 20s? Will you be in your 20s? 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s? It doesn't matter. It's all good. It's going to be a time for celebration. And it's going to be awesome. Mark my words. Things are going to change fast. So I'm excited about it. But we've already talked about that, haven't we? So we should probably move on. I'm not great at traveling. I travel a lot, and I'm not fantastic. I'm getting better at it, actually. But I do get homesick. That's not to say I'm not grateful for all these wonderful trips that we're on, seeing the world, but I do get homesick. And I have on this trip a little bit too. I mean, I love my home, and I love my studio and yard, and I miss it. But I'm noticing on this trip, as longer I'm away, because we're getting to a time now that's longer than we've ever. That's not true. We've been way longer than this, but we will be the longest away from home. And what I feel like is happening is I start to get detached from home. So how long does it take for that to happen before you're like, do I live here now? That kind of thing starts to happen. I miss playing music. I can't do that here, which is okay, because actually playing music is a distraction from probably what I should be doing, which is writing. So there's that. But the longer I'm away, the less, in a way, like I get homesick more and more and more and more, and then I'm from the chart, then it peaks and it starts going down, where it's like my mind's like, okay, well, this is home now, so let's start working that out. So, and let's face it, calling Hawaii home is not awful. It's pretty great. Time is going so fast. It's amazing. So, what's happening in 2019? Well, I want to release 2 albums. I just said how I probably shouldn't be. Music is a distraction. My whole life, I think it's been a distraction, something that takes me away from maybe what I should be doing. But it's what I think about all the time. It's what I want to be doing. It's when I'm most happy, I think. I think it is. So playing live, I'm going to relax with that, because getting a band together with other people, the older you get, the harder it gets. So I might relax with that and focus on getting some cool albums out. I'm going to have one coming out soon, and then I'm going to do another one. And the next one, I don't know. Maybe I'll look at collaborating. I would love to play some music with some local people again, but maybe I'll relax with like, hey guys, let's play my songs. I'll just kind of join in with other people. A little bit of a social thing, if nothing else. So I look forward to that. What else? We're in America, right? I'm a Canadian boy in America right now for 3 months. More than 3 months, because after we'll be in LA for a while. Maybe that'll be my next podcast. I'll check in when we're in LA. We're staying in Silver Lake. which is like this like hipster mecca. And maybe I'll check in it again then, because I think I have one more podcast, because I might wrap this up for a while. Because I thought I'd honor what we started, finish what we started, which was going through the album, basically. And there's only a couple songs left. And then after that, we'll put it to bed for a while, okay? And we'll see where it goes. So, what's the next song we're going to focus on? This next song is called Last Ride. And that is a teenage tragedy song, which is something that was happened in the 60s a lot, in the 50s. And it's kind of a type of song, a genre of music that, you don't see too much anymore. Before we do that, let's do the old go through Facebook. And you know what? We got nothing, man. Because I don't have Facebook on my iPhone. Let's go through Instagram, all right? Special edition. And just first few things, we'll see what we see. In the stories, I see author Karina Halley, and so on. And then, but we're going to go through the feed. And the first person I see is Ali. Oh man, sometimes these names are hard to it's just like a bunch of letters. Ali Hames Art. Okay, that makes sense. And wow, is it ever amazing. It's a baby, and it is extremely beautiful and high talent. Like, what do we got? We got an ad? No. Rob Zombie. My God, do I look up to. He is kind of my mentor in many ways. Multimedia artist, amazing. Rob Zombie, like. Rachel, again, it's just hard to say, and it's obviously Rachel. Then Rachel is home and life. Anyway, it's a nice sunset, like. Bonk. All right, one more. Who's last here? Carrie Kauai, lovely artist, spirit. Probably, I think one of the first artists I've known, and because I was really young when I met her. When you're young, you meet these people. I draw, and then you meet something that's a real artist, and I think she's the first one I met. So, and now she's always putting up amazing things that are. You could pick them out of a line that it's from her. All right, that's it. Okay, so I think we only have a couple songs left, and we have one that's extremely dark, and one that's not so dark, and this one's the not so dark one. So what is a teenage tragedy song? Well, they're all kind of the same in that it's usually a young guy that has died like in a car accident or something, and from the beyond, a message to his lost love. So what I did in the past, what I would do, is talk about the lyrics a little bit and then play out the tune. But this time, I don't think that's necessary, because it's a very slow, very clear song. You could hear the lyrics just fine. And I tried to stay true to the format of a teenage tragedy song. So this guy is on a motorcycle, and I thought the only twist maybe was that he was on his way to break up with the lady, to end the relationship. It was a long distance relationship. He lived in one town, she lived a few towns over, and he'd take his motorcycle every weekend maybe to go visit her. And he thought, enough of this. I love the girl, I think, but I think I'm going to break it off, the confused teenage heart. And so he's on his way, that last ride, motorcycle ride, to go tell his sweetheart that it's over, baby. I'm not sure if it's the right thing, but I'm going to break it off for a little while. And he's kind of contemplating whether it's the right thing or wrong thing. And he hits the gravel on the side of the road. Boom. he crashes. Highway speed, he's gone. His motorcycle crashes and he's gone. Or almost gone. Anyway. And so there's a few verses where he's kind of hanging on to life. He actually gets picked up, brought somewhere, and he's on the bed. And there's a priest next to him. And he has a chance to say a few words before, the final goodbye.
Alone on a road, white knuckle tried her throat. She was true and I was too, but sometimes you just have to leave. How will it go? How will it go? We'll be angry and wicked and red. Or could it be she won't even speak? Cold and twisted and blue. It's the last time I will write to you. Know how it goes, going on the road. My bike seems to know where to go. I'm young and I'm proud. So much in this town keeps me wanting for more. And then I decide too many miles between your town and mine. Then the stones on the side, the highway caught me surprised. Oh how it goes, oh how it goes. Your mind just